Grand Concourse 149th Street station in the Bronx, graffiti writers gather at what they call the writer's bench.
What's good, what's good, what's good? Live from the Writers Bench, it's your man Kill back with another app. Got the bulk of my soldiers on deck today. We got JP, Ev, Bezo, we got my man Marsh, and my man Big Bink out of BA. What's going on, y'all?
Yo, what up, man? I'm blessed.
That's what it is. Quick shout out real quick plug. Marsh owns one of the illest record stores out here in the DC, Maryland area. Memory Lane Records, go through there. Large Pro may be in there one day. Biz always comes through. Marsh, let them know where it is and everything.
Yeah, man. We're right outside of D.C., 2809 Walters Lane. That's District Heights, Maryland. We're open every day, Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays we're open 12 to 5. Right. So if you're in the D.C. area, come through. Me, another good dude by the name of Michael Earl. He runs the store, and we're just here, whether you're just into good music, samples, beats, just whatever. You know, I got to stick my chest out and say we are the best store in the DMV, and I open it up to anybody. If you want to take the time, waste your gas money, you know, burn your gas, go looking elsewhere. And I'll be very truthful with you. We are not the cheapest store, but we are the best store. You know, I can't beat the bootlegger on CDs, and I can't beat the thrift store when it comes to dollar bin and so forth. But you come in here, and you're going to be satisfied. No matter what you're looking for, you're definitely going to be satisfied.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
You say you're not cheap, but are you A1 sound library prices? Or are you mom and pop prices, or you A1 sound library prices?
We are mom and pop prices, and you'll love what you see here because we've just done a lot of markdowns on a lot of our records. So now is the time to come through my spot if you really want to dig heavy with just some good grooves, some good samples, and so forth. Of course, we got some very choice pieces of vinyl in the store, but my selling floor, you'll be so happy with what you see up in here. I guarantee you. It's definitely worth the trip.
I've been digging with Marsh for over 5-6 years now, and his spot is a joint you go to when you're looking for something. You're looking for that record you haven't been able to find, ask them what's behind the counter.
Thank you, sir. It's not even so much behind the counter now because we pulled a lot of stuff from behind the counter onto the selling floor, because the one thing about having a record store, man, you can't keep all the good stuff, and you trying to sell it. So our stuff is meant to move. So let's just say, you come here, you will be satisfied. A1, I'm not going to speak on that store because I've copped some really good stuff out of that store, but let's just say.
Yes, we have.
You will be satisfied. You will be satisfied when you come in.
All right, no doubt. Well, look, this week's show, I got my diggers on here. I got my producers. This week's show is about your top 5 favorite hip-hop samples. They could have been chops, flips, whatever. You know, just your favorite 5 joints that, spoke to you in whatever way. You know, the 5 I got, I got a 6th one. I can't even hold you. But, however it spoke to you, whatever it meant to you. And then, we're going to chop it up about when you first heard the original, when you heard it, how you flipped it, and if, as a producer, would you have used it the same way? So, my man Marsh, you the guest on the show tonight, so why don't you start us off with your first pick?
Man, you going to start me off like, man, okay, I got to start this off amongst this august body of samplers and producers and diggers. Come on, man.
Hey, start off, man.
Damn. All right, okay. All right, first and foremost, let me just say this without trying to take up too much time. Kills, you really kind of killed me because when you gave it to me about like what the show was going to be about, I told you I had a list of about 30, and it was hard to just break it. So basically, I'm coming up with the 5 that even if I'm leaving stuff out, at least I could live with them. So I'm gonna start my first one off. It's a classic from one of the greatest groups of all time, and it's a common record that you can find anywhere BT Express's Do It Till You Satisfied record.
Yeah.
But the main reason why people walk into my spot to pick this up is not just the hit, but if it don't turn you on, you ought to leave it alone. And of course, if you don't know it, that's the incredible sample from one of the greatest hip hop groups of all time, EPMD. So What You Saying? And that whole record is just, that whole song is just such a good groove. And from the opening bass lines to just that vintage guitar pluck that just sets off the whole sample. I've played this record for people, and it amazes them how good the song is. And I sit up here and say, well, why would you be amazed when it was just, you know, from one of those seminal 70s groups? But, man, starting it off with a classic. And it's not something that, you know, is a behind-the-counter piece. You can find it anywhere for $1, $5, whatever. You know, got a couple of copies in the store right now. If somebody sees the show and didn't know what that sample was and want to pick it up, come on through. But I'm going to start it off like that.
All right, no doubt. Bezo, been a minute, man. Been a minute.
Yeah, man.
Yo, hey, Kill, can I throw a quick question in there? My bad.
No.
Quick question for the brother Marsh.
Yeah.
Do you do production?
Right now, I just run a store and I dig. But me and Kel's been talking about some production pieces that I need to just like get my hands wet with again. I say this, it's not that I've never done production. It's just that I kind of have to reintroduce myself to it. I run a store and I basically dig. So that's about it.
Okay, yeah. The reason why I asked is because I was curious to know if, or anybody else on the panel, the way that you heard that sample flipped,
Mm-hmm.
but you have done it a different way.
If I would have heard the joint, probably not, because the loop is just so ill. I mean, that's so what you.
We're talking about So What You Saying?
Yeah. Talking about So What You Saying.
So what you saying?
I mean, the loop is so ill. I probably, and especially at that time, even now, I mean, I know for me, I probably would just leave it the way it is. That's one of them joints out. I mean, I guess you could flip it, but that thing's so dope just as is. I don't know what the rest of y'all think. What you think, Bezo?
Let me ask you: Did Eric Sermon add extra drums to that, or were the drums in the sample?
I think
he probably layered the drums from what I'm hearing. Because when you hear that original loop, it doesn't come off as solid as what Eric did, because he probably layered the drums from my understanding. But just to piggyback on what Kill said, you could probably add another element or two, but sometimes genius is seeing the obvious. Right. And all you got to do is just take that bass, take that guitar pluck, add some drums, and classic, you know, from what I see.
Right.
The reason why I'm asking my question is because during like this time, well, my time period, I call it a golden era, that whole 90s era, 80s, 90s, I did more MC stuff. So by the time I got into production, I'm doing composition work, so I'm doing like more like writing music out. So I'm just taking advantage of the fact that I got some like heavy hitters on deck. So I'm just gonna ask a couple questions here and there. I'm just curious, like would anyone have flipped that a different way, chopped it up, sped it up as opposed to slowing it down?
Kill, you ever hear Sha D's original demo, Kill?
Who's that?
Josh.
Nah, I never heard that.
We actually used that joint, that same sample, and we pretty much used it the same way, but we used the beat. It was another BT Express drum track though. Can't remember the name of it. It's off the same album, as a matter of fact. Matter of fact, it's the same beat that Brand New being used for Love Me or Leave Me Alone. The same drums and shit. We used that with that same sample and shit. Right. If I have a copy, I'll send it to you at one point. But yeah, right. I mean, that's like you said, that's one of them samples that is so dope. It's like if you tinker with it, you might be fucking it up. You know what I mean? It's like it's already there. Why mess with it?
It's what it is type thing.
Yeah. Right. All right, big bro, Brink, what's going on with you, man? What's one of your first joints?
Who, me?
Yeah.
My first joints, I would say the Benjamin. Because it was just the pocket he put the drums in on that shit was just so stupid. Like, to understand where it came from and how he flipped the pocket, it was just like, it was genius to me.
Right.
All right.
I don't think D-Dot would do that again if he died and came back and got that same record in his possession. I don't think he would do that again. Like, that shit was just that genius to me.
Right.
Benjamin. what I'm saying?
Great.
Yeah, that shit, that joint was crazy. And then even hearing the original joint, how what he had to do to get it there, because that's one of my favorite beats ever.
Who was the original for that? What was the original for that?
Barry White.
Okay.
But that's like your hip hop Planet Rock right there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? That's like your play at your own risk. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck what year you throw that beat on in the club. Like, motherfuckers gonna lose it like it just came out yesterday.
Right.
You
And
know what I mean?
the crazy thing about that joint was that it was done during the whole shiny suit era. You know, not too many classic records were made during that time, at least in my eyes. You know, the stuff that Bad Boy was doing for the most part. But that joint right there, that joint was bananas to me. Like to me, you can't deny that. There's no denying that record right there. You know what I mean? So
On my Instagram page, I do this thing where I ask you if there's any beat that you heard that you wish you produced, what would it be? And the Benjamin was definitely one of mine.
Right. Yeah.
Ooh.
Dr. Dre even said that. Dr. Dre was like, "Yo, that was a beat he wish he could have done."
yeah. And that say a lot right there. That say a lot right there. All right, Beezer, what you got up next, man?
I'm sure somebody else is gonna have this one too. So apologies to whoever I fuck up with this one right here. But 10 Bricks, man, by Raekwon, man.
Yo, you go big.
Yo, that Smokey Robinson, what is it? You got the love or something? You got the love I need some shit? Yeah, there you go.
This joint,
Yo, I had that joint for
Kills,
me.
hold on. That was on
So
Pocket
that's
Watch.
one of them samples that you sit on for a while and it's like,
okay.
all right, let me go rock with it. By the time I got around to it,
Yeah.
that shit was already out. I heard that shit. I said, yo, this nigga.
Who is it?
It's
Smokey Robinson.
Smokey Robinson, this joint right here.
But the way he,
America.
oh
Okay.
my God, yo.
All right.
I mean, I even chopped it up like, hold on, let me see if I could do what Dilla did. And it's just like, yeah, it's just like, yo, what the fuck? Like, yo, I don't know when he did it. I don't know if he was sick at the time when he was going through when he did that joint, but dog, I would have loved. That's that's the joint right there that I wish I had produced. Cause that shit, I mean, I had the sample and I was just sitting on it for so long, and then to hear Dilla's version, it's just like, I'm not even gonna bother, dog. You know, sometimes you hear a sample, you gotta like, nah, he did it this way. I'm gonna still do my shit. I heard Dilla just like, all right, I gotta just leave that joint in the
But for real, when you hear a dope sample, it's almost imperative that you go back and listen to it in its entirety.
Yeah.
Niggas, people be forgetting, leaving shit out. That's how I was going back to that BT Express record.
Yeah.
That's the same record from Get At Me Dog too.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And the same record, I used the same sample from Get At Me Dog for Raw and Uncut.
Okay.
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
All they took was burn, but they left out bang, well, bang, I was like, oh shit, let me get that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, Bezo, you right. You know, the funny thing is, I really thought I was gonna get away with this joint, man. I didn't think nobody was gonna name this joint, man. But that 10 Bricks, I remember hearing it on one of them Dilla beat CDs, and I was just like, yo, that's where that nigga really took his shit to the next level for me. Because my biggest beef with JD, if there was one, was that I was like, oh, he makes music for them peace people, for the Commons and the Roots and them dudes. But when Dilla came up, that's why I'm always like, it's two totally different people. JD and J Dilla, two different people. When that nigga came with that 10 Bricks, what's that, Bink?
Andre Crouch.
What joint is that from?
This Is Another Day.
Who used that joint?
Bink.
Yeah, ask yourself,
No, but no, this record is an ill record though.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Wait, I feel like this episode at the end of it is gonna turn into a pullout episode.
Yeah.
it is.
You should have told me. I gotta prepare. I gotta go back in the room.
Hold on. I got a question for Bink though. I see something over your shoulder there, dog. That look like an SC1X, if I'm not mistaken.
It's the ST1, the original.
The original. I had the 1X.
Not X, SE1.
I had a chance to meet the cat, the son of the family that made them shits from Cali or some shit like that.
Whoa.
Oh my God, yo! I sold about 3 of them
Okay.
joints to 3 different cats over the years and shit, 3 different producers and shit. That's that shit right there. That bass module. The cats that don't know. Sick bass module. But yo, that 10 Bricks joint, let me just say this. And I know every cat in here that digs and produces, that's one of them joints that as soon as you put the needle on the record and you hear that down, 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 you immediately, all right, I don't even need to listen no more. I'm gonna buy this shit right here. You take it home and listen to that shit. When you in the store and play that, as soon as that needle hits in the beginning of the 10 Bricks, that sample comes on, you immediately are copying that record. I promise you. It's one of them type of samples. So.
Yeah. And I mean,
okay, I gotta go back and revisit that one.
Yeah,
that one's a little bit over my head. I gotta go revisit that one.
I just bought that vinyl like 3 weeks ago. There's
another sample at least, another couple of joints on there too, but that shit just.
Okay.
I guarantee you something on that same record.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What it is. It definitely is. It definitely is.
All right, JP, what you got up next, fam?
I'm gonna start off with an easy one because, like, when I first heard it and how it was flipped, I was like, yo, that shit is impressive because it was used before as a regular loop and it was a big hit. So I'm gonna go with Kingdom Come, Jay-Z, Just Blaze joint, using Super Freak, Rick James.
I was gonna say that was one of my joints.
Yo, let me tell you something. When I first heard that joint, he had it on his MySpace page, and I was like, yo, like he flipped the Rick James. It was crazy. This was before it was. He gave it to Jay, and it was on his MySpace page. Like he like recorded himself, like, you know, doing it or whatever, something like that. And I was like, yo, it was so crazy. And then when it turned around and became a Jay joint, I was like, oh, this beat is. The way he flipped it was just like you could tell what it was, but it was just he did it in a different way. I was like, yo, this is incredible.
When I met cats that I had to argue with, like, dog, my dude, listen, this is that simple. How do you not know this? Just because of the way. Now, granted, that's for these cats are not producers; they just fans or whatever, so they don't know, you know, the intricacies or whatever you want to call it. But the way he flipped it, I gotta give him credit. Yo, that to me is his most creative track I've heard from Just, man. Where he really went into chopping and redid his shit. It's like he used the same sample that Hammer used, man. You know, you can't say that about too much joints. You know what I mean? And it was dope. Jay-Z and Hammer used the same sample. Just think about that for a minute.
No, I would have to agree with you on that one. He definitely murdered the Rick James shit.
Yeah, that joint was crazy. All right, Ev, what you got on tap, fam?
As a listener, one of my favorite joints is when Dilla flipped. Well, he didn't really flip it, but the Stakes is High joint.
Oh, come on, man! All right. Damn! All right.
Got it.
All right, can't use that one.
Off my list.
I would have pulled the record out, but I didn't know we was pulling vinyl out. But yeah, that was. I remember when I first. There you go. Grab that joint, because I remember when I first heard it. Actually, my man put me onto it when I was working at Amoeba out in LA. He was like, "Yo, you need this right here," and I was like, "Where? What do you need this for?" I took it home and listened to it. I was like, "Oh yeah, I did need that." Yeah, that's one of my joints right there.
Yeah.
For you, Ev. Right here.
Man.
The ball plays, Jamal, for you, Ev.
Yeah. I figured Dilla name gonna come a couple of times tonight.
Yeah, he gonna be in there.
That's easy for me. All right, one of my joints right here, you know, with Marsh pulling out that joint, I'm gonna pull out the Jamaica joint. The joint that was on me was the Misdemeanor joint that the Silvers did. Ahmad did this, and from sampling that, what it was is Blacksmith and Wesson off of Black Moon's first album was used for that joint for Misdemeanor. And then at the same token, Gangstar, one of my favorite Gangstar joints, Soliloquy of Chaos, was off the same joint. And it was bugged to me because just, you know, when I'm first getting into digging, I'm just like, I'm not expecting, like we were talking about earlier, for 2 and 3 songs to be off the same album. And I mean, it literally is like, you know, the Beat Miners took the first like 4 bars, and then Primo took the next 4 bars and made 2 totally different songs with it. So, you know what I mean? Also, it's just one of my favorite, maybe one of my favorite of my Jamal joints. I won't say it's my favorite, but definitely it's a lot of gems on here. For diggers who know, there's a lot of good stuff on this joint. So,
which album was that?
What's that? That was a Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Yeah.
That's the one with the suitcase. That's all you gotta know.
Yeah. That's the joint. Nas's "I Gave You Power" is on there too. That Primo used for that. Like the split 0.2 seconds that Primo used is on that joint. You know,
I use that Ahmad Jamal for Rick Ross cigar music.
Word.
this joint?
Right, yeah.
Know my neighbor.
Which one?
Know my neighbor. I mean, don't tell my neighbor.
Okay. Wow. All right. That's dope. All right, Marsh, what you got up next, man?
Ooh, all right, it's coming back to me. This one here, gotta show respect to my man Dr. Dre. Probably my favorite song on the Chronic album was Lyrical Gangbang. And that sample is the Nightlighter. And appropriately just titled Damn. And it's such a hard track. And he really didn't have to do too much to it. But I will say that when you hear that record, there's no other way that you can spit on that piece except just like go full blast. And everybody from RBX to
Rage.
my man Corrupt, Rage, everybody just killed it on that song. So, and that's one of mine. Whenever it comes on, face instantly gets ugly. You know, just oh my God. So, and it's on the Analysis record. So, the song, just the first side is just ended so perfectly with that cut. So, respect to Dr. Dre. Like I said, probably my favorite song on the Chronic, and it always gets a couple of repeats whenever I play it in the car. So, that's mine.
Part 2. That's what it is. Bink, what you got next up, fam?
Oh, you gotta help me with the sample. But it's the Knots joint he did with Buster.
Which
Everybody Rise.
Everybody Ride.
That was on my list too, man.
Well, what sample is that, JP? I don't know that off my head. That's the top.
I don't have a record on me. It's the Controllers. I think it's called If Tomorrow Comes or When Tomorrow, something like that. But the group is called the Controllers.
What he did with that?
Yeah, man.
Ooh.
The funny thing about it, when you know the Buster song is so energetic, but when you hear this original sample, it just sounds light and like not. Yeah, it's real smooth, but you think of that Buster record, it's high energy, like it's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay.
Sound like the music that play when Jesus come out the bathroom.
Damn, all right.
That's going. He turned it into some turn up, like neck breaking turn up.
Crazy.
Yo, the funny thing about Knots and Buster is those two names aren't really mentioned when you think of two cats who get together that just make magic, but them two dudes just make magic together, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just make magic. Nobody really ever talks about Knots, and they never talk about Knots and Buster, but that's why when you said that, I'm like, which joint? Like, there's so many bangers that Knots is giving Buster that it's just like, yo, those two getting together, like I said, just sick, just crazy out there. All right, what you got next up, Bezo?
It's funny because I was gonna go with, I got my number 2, but since you just brought up Knots, I'm gonna bring this one up. I had anyway. It's a Ghostface joint. Be This Way. Billy Stewart.
Yes.
I got the record. I don't remember the goddamn song or the original. The title of the original joint is by Billy Stewart. That's the same cat that Just Blaze used for that Exhibit C, whatever for Electronica.
Exhibit C.
So,
Yeah.
Knots did that beat, yo, son. That's one of my favorite Ghost joints of all time, right there, man. And I didn't know for mad long that Knots did that shit.
Brother, I
That
think
shit right there,
that's the
the
name of the sample. Didn't mean to cut you off, but I think that's the name of the sample. Be This Way.
Yeah, okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's just like the same title almost, but
Yeah.
I forget what Ghost, but it's Be This Way, whatever. But yo, oh man, yo, he killed that shit. Knots destroyed that joint right there.
Yeah, that dude's a problem, man. Ev, what you got up next, man?
My number 2, I'm gonna go with Primo, Put a Spell on You, Kicking the Door.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Well-known joint, but I love the way, the fact that, I just love the way Preem takes a second or something and makes it 3 to 5 minutes of some crazy.
Not just that, he turns a cut into an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You there.
They function like instruments. You know what I'm saying? Everything fits in a certain space. You know what I mean? How he cuts it, and it's just like it's incredible how he does that. Make a record talk.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that joint. I mean, just the illest thing to me was when I just seen the cover, because the cover just looked so crazy and screaming Jay Hawkins, and I forgot a while ago somebody used it in a commercial. I forgot.
Yeah, bar commercial or some shit. Yeah.
You know, and it was just like, yo, just would again another dope combination, Primo and Biggie. People always talk about like, if I could have any hip hop album, man, a Biggie premiere album from 1995, man, that would be it. That's one of mine right there. That I would love to have heard a whole Primo Biggie album from '95. I think that would have been crazy. But yeah, that's dope. JP, what you got up next?
Next one I got it's not really a chop. You know, I'm going back and forth. It's one of my favorite loops, but and it's from one of Bezos' favorite MCs of all time. Butter, Fife.
Oh,
Plus, yo, the Weather Report, young.
yeah.
That sample, man. That I love that, man.
It is my favorite Fife joint though. Love that joint. That's my favorite Fife joint, hands down, no question. Yeah, that's a dope sample right there.
Yeah, it's funny with that joint. I think like with Butter, that's like, I felt like that was like Fife's coming out party or something. Like that's when like everybody at the same time got it. Like, oh, okay, that's why you in the group, my nigga. Okay, I see why. I ain't know for a while, but you heard Butter, and it was just like, yo, that joint was just perfect for him, man.
Yeah.
That joint just fit perfect for him. Next up, I got this joint I'm going with because the first time I heard the song, I remember being in Brooklyn and I was just like blown away from it. And it was Microphone Fiend, Eric B. and Rakim. It's this average white band joint right here, man. That joint, Schoolboy Crush, man. I just remember hearing I mean, it was almost like hypnotizing or something. Like it was like, damn. And then
pull you in.
Yeah, and then, I mean, when the sleigh bells came in, and then the drums hit, it was just like, God, like what?
Voice.
Yeah. And I mean, then when Rakim just came in, it was just like the perfect joint. So I remember being a shorty, because it had to be like '88, and being like, yo, where is that from? So just finding this joint and then just hearing it is just like, and the thing that I love about with producers, what we all do in general, is you could take a song, make it so hard, like you were saying, JP, and the song keeps going, it don't even sound like it would be that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like taking something that's so smooth and melodic and then turning it into something so sickening. You know what I mean? So that's my joint right there. Marsh, what you got up next, man?
Yeah, we already on 3.
We on 3 already, man.
Moving. Okay. I was gonna use something else, but you know what? Out of respect for Dilla, since Stakes is High was already used, I'll be honest with you. Before I even knew there was a J Dilla, there was the Uma, and the first time I knew that this dude was on something totally different was probably the best song off of Beach Rhymes in Life.
Get a hold.
And that is Get a Hold. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That circle, the fact that I wish I had the record of the 45 on me, but because I was looking for it just to show that I had it. But man, when I heard the way it was spooky, it was totally something different from anything I had heard with Tribe Called Quest beforehand. And just the fact that when I checked the liner notes, and I'd never heard of a group called The Circle, I'd never heard of this song called The Visit, but I'm like, I ran out and was like, I gotta hear it. And the fact that he used the sample at the very end and chopped it that way, you just like, man, okay, who is this? And then when I figured out that he did that, I'm like, you know what? All props to him. You know, that's what got me onto him. And then just to piggyback, like the first Slum Village record, just that whole fantastic. That was it for me. So props to Dilla for that one. You know, when he was JD before Dilla, before anybody knew him, when he was just Uma, you know. So that's my third.
It's crazy with that joint, man. I just remember the drums. You know, it was just the drums being offbeat. I mean, I remember being in my man Montez's Jeep and hearing that, and literally going in the house, getting on the ASR 10, trying to replicate what I just heard. Like it literally, like yo, them drums, so offbeat or whatever, just you know, was so crazy to me that I was just like, yo, how? And like just like you, that was my introduction to Dilla, man. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that joint is sick. That's sick. Bink, what you got up next, fam?
Man, I don't even know where he got the sample from, the chopper from. But the Bad Boy for Life Megahertz.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
That shit is hard.
Yeah, that shit is nasty.
That shit is hard.
I don't know what he chop suey up with that shit.
He just played the shit too. I see.
That mother, hey, he made a Gordon Gartrell out of that motherfucker. Like, for real.
Yeah, that was a hard joint. Then like dude just came on the scene and disappeared. Like he did that joint. I know he did the joint that set off Bilal's album. Then it's like I never heard from dude.
No, he also did Got Myself a Gun.
We got
He did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I didn't know that. That was my shit.
Oh shoot! That's all.
yeah, that joint was that Bad Boy for Life was
He did
crazy.
the same thing. Okay.
But what happened to Cat? He just stopped or just
He moved to Puerto Rico, and I think he just came back like a year ago. I think he's going back at it again.
what?
That nigga must have been money or something. You just moved to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I mean,
Stay there for 10 years.
Hey man, if you go to Puerto Rico once, trust me, you can see why a nigga move.
Yes, absolutely. He found a mommy and just stayed there, you know.
Yeah. I ain't mad at him. I can only imagine.
Industry make you want to do that.
I mean, dog, you can go and visit your mommy, but not when you at that point. I gotta get this money while I could get it, man. So
Depending upon what he made off of it.
Hey, this music industry make you want to move to an island and talk to your ball named Wilson. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Then you come back. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta step away. So I felt him. But that record right there, the way he stitched that together and the pocket of the drums and how he swung that whole thing was, I thought that was genius. Like that was a real genius.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, nah, that joint was crazy. That shit was crazy. JP, what you got up next, man? Oh, my bad, B. I'm sorry. I was gonna get back. I was gonna get right back.
I mean, because I've been sitting on this one for a hot second. I wanted to spit it out before because it's kind of crazy. But yo, P-Rock and CL, I gotta love. But it's the sample from the hook. It's the Ambassadors joint. Now, if you know the Ambassadors, the original, yo, the reason this shit is so crazy to me because I Gotta Love is all about CL got love for the chick or whatever. Well, did you listen to the original joint?
Yeah, it's the total opposite.
The nigga talking some old wild shit like, yo, shorty wildin'. It's just some old from the 50s shit, yo.
Find the food and get him is my philosophy.
Yeah, yo, he's straight, man. He's straight busting chicks down like, nah, I ain't got no time for y'all. I'm too busy running the streets, banging hoes. I ain't got time for y'all. I ain't got no love. But for Pete to take that and turn it into like a love song, it's like, damn, son, that's crazy. That's crazy. I think the Electronica used it too, like a couple years ago on some like mixtape shit, but I'll always give it to P for that shit, man. I didn't like the original. I didn't like the P-Rock joint. I love the remix more than the original, but when I found the original record and I listened to the lyrics, I was like, oh, shit. What made them think to turn this into a love song, dog? Because it's hard, yo. The original shit is real.
Wow.
And the crazy thing you say about the J Electronica joint, I was riding with my man Tony. He a younger dude. And I was like, yeah, he had sung over that joint. I was like, yeah, you killed that joint when you was singing over the Pete and CL joint. He was like, what joint? I was like, I Gotta Love joint. He was like, oh, you mean the Shiny Suit Theory joint? The J. I was like, nah, man. I mean CL. But it just it was funny because it just showed the you know, somebody younger doesn't even know that joint. You know, and I'm like, yeah, you killed that Pete joint. He's like, Pete what? Like, you know, but it was just funny to me to see the difference in the age and everything. But all right, JP, what you got up?
I'm gonna go back to I know Knots was mentioned a couple times earlier. I'm gonna go back to Knots. It's the Girl You Know Scarface joint where he sampled Lenny Williams. Chopped that up. The way he did that, man, was just insane. You know, I know, you know, Twista and Kanye used it before, but Nas did it so much better. Like, it was crazy the way he did it, man. I wish I could play it right now, but I love that joint right now.
You got a story, Bink?
No, he say he wish he could play it right now. I'm like, that's real.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was over for that sample. I thought it was just okay.
Right.
I was like, okay, enough of the Lenny Wills song. Leave it alone. Then he came in. I was like, oh, hold up, maybe what's wrong? I didn't know it could be flipped like any other way. He bodied that.
Crazy.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Ed, what you got up next?
This one is actually one of my favorite flips as far as manipulation, and it's Claire.
Woo!
Because I thought for sure that shit said Players, and then I heard it and it was like Claire, and I was like, this motherfucker. It made me think he said something that said Players, but that's one of my favorite joints, man. Just for the fact that he took something and made it sound like something completely different.
Right, nah. I mean, same thing, and just, you know, I think anytime, like you said, that manipulation, whether it's Alchemist doing the hold me down and it's not saying that, anytime it's something that you think is saying something and you find out it's something totally different. And then just the fact that Dilla took that from like some acapella group, you know, and I think that was another thing I loved about Dilla, was just the fact that this dude was always kind of like what Marshall was just saying, like taking it from groups you had never heard of before, you know, like this just some acapella group or whatever like that. So that joint, you know, was crazy to me too, man. Damn, he's taking me back with that Clear joint, man. That thing was right. All right, next up I got, going in the same line with the whole, you know, same songs on the same joint, the Libby Sif joint. Beat Nuts used this for Beat Nuts Forever. Ski used this for Streets is Watching, and Dre used this for the Eminem you know. So just the fact that, you know, this joint was used on so many joints, you know what I mean, and each joint sounded completely different. You listen to Beat Nuts Forever, joint don't sound nothing like Streets is Watching. Streets is Watching don't sound nothing like, you know, the Eminem joint. So definitely one of my favorite joints. That Ski, Dre, and the Beat Nuts right there. So that's definitely one of my joints. Big Marsh, what you got up next?
All right, round four here. Round four. Okay. I had to put this off. This is gonna be my number 3, but I thought of that Circle sample with Dilla. But the reason why I love this sample so much is because when I first learned how to drive, me and my younger brother, we kind of got our licenses at around the same time, and this was just a riding song. And it's the sample for Main Sources, Just Hanging Out. And of course, that's the Gwen McCrae, 90% of Me Is You. And that song at 8 o'clock, drive all over DC, and just as a 17-year-old, and just mean mug everybody, like, yeah, I got a license now, you know, and this is my team music, I'm rolling, you know what I'm saying? So, since we flipping, the best thing I could do is just to show you the 45, you know. I wish I had the album in front of me, but I got doubles of the 45, and this is more of a personal thing, because, like I said before, between this one and my younger brother loved Boss, that Deeper joint, which was his track, and the fact that they used it pretty much the same way, but it's just a real mellow, chill song, and just that beginning, just that wah-wah guitar, just at the beginning, just it sets the mood, and it's just a winner. So 90% of Me Is You, Gwen McCrae.
Yeah. Now the thing that I love, Just Hanging Out, is actually one of my favorite hip hop songs.
Yes, sir.
Like that joint just sets a certain mood. And one thing that people don't give Large for a lot of credit for, this dude used to have solos in his songs. Like if you listen to, you know, Snake Eyes, this nigga got a flute solo. Like hip hop producers out there that would break stuff down. Like, okay, flutist or flautist, get yours. You know, and the flute sample would just play for a while. Large Pro would always do that. And I was like, yo, this dude is really like an orchestrator. Like, he letting the drummer get some, he letting the flautist get some, you know. So Just Hanging Out, I mean, just the rhymes, it just, that's one of them perfect hip hop songs. It just, you know, when he's like, yo, I be chilling with Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Beats that is sharper than cleats, you know. That whole joint in the video just made it dope too, you know.
Yes,
Just,
sir. Absolutely.
Just throwing some hanging out shit, man.
Yep, absolutely.
A perfect joint. Bink, what you got up next, fam?
I'm gonna go with Desperado too.
Yeah, that's my shit.
Yeah. That No ID joint.
No ID joint, yeah.
Now, what's the original for that? You know, offhand?
I think that's In the Space, I think.
Yeah, I got that shit too.
I think on Nala.
Yeah, that joint right there was crazy, man. That was yeah. He killed that joint.
Yeah.
All right, B, what you got up next?
Well, it would have been Stakes is High, but somebody took that. So I'm gonna go on my fifth one, and it's kind of ironic because when I first heard the joint, it was one of my favorite joints in the first place, like one of my favorite hip hop joints of that whole era. And I had the production all twisted up. It wasn't until the nigga Roots put me on to like, nah, he ain't do that shit. This nigga did that shit. And the sample itself, and I didn't kill, you know what I'm talking about.
I already know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but it's kind of ironic because the nigga's sitting here tonight, but it's 1 out of 100 Hustler by Jay and them, yo. I mean, the sample itself is bananas, and then when you add the way the 1 out of 100 Hustler, the whole like you calling in to the hotline and shit because you got hustler nigga problems. That beat, drums, sample, it shit just the lyrics, the everything just came. And with Beanie as the receptionist type niggas, come on, fam. Could not have got no better with that joint, right? That's one of them joints that I wish I had sample type shit. So it's ironic because I had no idea Bink was gonna be on here tonight, and that was our fifth joint anyway. So,
yo, Bink, tell me this: can you walk us through you making that track, like just coming across the sample, and just how it went together?
When I see, just looking at the cover of that 10-wheel drive,
yeah,
I knew it was something up there because it just had all the must-have. You see the horns, you see the B3, you see the fender rolls, you know. Oh shit, something got to be up here. And then when it first came on, like, I'm like, ah. So I was like a little kid just sitting there because I had to let it play. Because if you were happy, then sometimes you just loop the first little thing you hear, you know what I'm saying? So I got out of the habit of just making myself go through the entire sample before I even start messing with it, you know what I'm saying? Just listening to it, like Pizzo said earlier, when you hear it, you just start smiling, like, yeah.
You're like,
yeah. I'm finna put my foot in this shit right here. You know what I'm saying? So I just, you know, wanted to keep the rock element, you know, real prominent in the front, you know what I'm saying? But just thug it out. You know what I'm saying? So it came out, you know, like it came out. But, you know, the crazy shit is they rapped in the wrong section.
What?
I didn't want them to rhyme in that section. They was rhyming on the horns.
Yeah.
They got the receptionist part over the verse part, what I wanted to be. That's why it's so quiet. That's why he can talk. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
when they get back from the phone and go back to the verse, then the horns wake the shit back up again. That was supposed to be the hook.
Oh. Yo, it's funny how things come together because it sounds, you know.
Yeah. If you'd have never said that, nigga would have never known this shit.
Exactly. So that's why when I heard it, I was like, fuck it. Like, just let it rock. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, but it took a long time for that record to come together. Like, they just was trying to they was sizing that beat up for a long time. And Beans came up with the whole, you know, 1-900, you know, idea, calling in and all that. So I'm actually the guy who I'm murder, death, kill, homicide. That was me at the end.
Yo, now tell me this, B. You were one of the first cats in that I remember really fucking with them drums real tough and using the toms and just the drums were just all over the place. You was one of the first cats who was really not like we talked about on a previous episode where it's just kick, snare, hi-hat. Where'd that come from? Like, where'd you pull that out for this joint?
Rick Rubin,
Mm.
and Larry, my man Larry Smith.
Mm.
That's where that came from. Listening to them. You know what I'm saying? They never played the same shit over and over again. You know what I'm saying? Like it was very, very structured. Like it was real, like a high profile structure type record. Like it wasn't like your average rap record, just 16 verse, 16. I mean, 8, hook. Like they was really programming a lot of stuff in there. So just listening to that, and then later on when Life After Death came out and Doggy Style, and just listening to those albums, it just really made me just zoom in and just the whole instrumentation of it all. Plus, I come from that anyway.
Right.
Bink, did you play the live drums, or was you programming that shit?
1-900, that's all MP. That's actually MPC 62.
Ooh, that's that shit.
Ooh.
First one.
But I had the 3000 upgrade in it.
That's crazy. That's definitely.
Who was the upgrade for? Was that for timing? Or was that for space?
No, the 3000, because remember the 3000 had come out. So the MPC 60 at that time was an old piece of gear.
Right.
So instead of just getting rid of it, you can upgrade the software in it. So it looked just like a 3000 on the screen.
Wow. So it was like a 3000 with a 60 engine type shit.
62 has such a beautiful dirt sound on it.
2 had the tightest quantized ever.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Whoa. Yeah. One of my homies got that shit sitting in his crawl space in pristine condition, dog, collecting dust.
MPC 62?
62, yes. Sitting in the closet.
I asked him if you want to sell it.
I've asked him 10 times. Every time, like, and I anteed it up, like another 100 on the shit. He like, nah, B. I'm like, well, nigga, you ain't using this. Like, over that shit.
You know how I go.
But because I always tell cats, that 62, the engine in that shit, man, you have to fuck with it to understand how tight, how ill that shit is, dog. Word up.
If only you could hear. I took and ran my ASR directly into the inputs of the 62 and sampled my drums directly into it. What it spit back to me was crazy.
So where you had the drums looped in the ASR and sampled that into just the drum sound.
I just hit it. Pop.
Mm.
One sample, truncated. Next one, sample, boom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He sounded shit. That's
and it sounded different from the processing of the ASR 10 opposed to the 62. Just like the drums on Beats from the East.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same snare I used on 1-900 Hustler. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what cats don't know, man. The 62 and the 3000 is probably the illest MPs to me.
Yeah, 62 was the joint we started on, and I just remember the sound of that joint was just ridiculous. And when it hit the 2000, I was like, I need that 62. 3000 was cool, but the 62 was just off the chain.
Yeah, the way it would catch your kick, like the way it would swing it, you know what I'm saying? Like you didn't even have to put the swing on for real. Like it would just catch it. Like,
Wow.
Yeah, that cat Roger Lynn just came out with some next bananas looking shit too. Some next controller, like this shit is massive, but it's just a controller set up kind of like the 808, the old 808 shit. The Lynn drums, the old Lynn drums. But it's just a controller. It's bananas. I think it's Lynn some shit, but when he left the Kai, the MPC wasn't the same and shit. And I think he came back for wasn't it the 3000 special edition or some shit? Came back for that shit a little bit, but it wasn't. He must have just put hands on the machine and they put his name on it or whatever, because it ain't had the same feel of the original 3000 and shit. It's still dope. That
nigga Roger Lynn the Kai is like Tinker Hatterfield tonight. You know what I'm saying? Once he stopped designing them Jordans, it was a wrap.
I mean, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. The 2000 was the poor man's 3000.
And you ain't lying with that, because when the 3000 came out, it was 3000.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I got the ASR, because I had 2000. So
Yeah, but the 2000 was 1200.
right, there you go. There you go. So you absolutely right.
Right.
Absolutely right. That was the four man's joint. The three they you hit it right on the head with that, baby.
Niggas didn't get the 2000 because it was the better machine.
No, not at all. Because they
They
couldn't
put
afford
on their pockets.
Right.
That's
They couldn't get that 3.
Understood.
Yeah.
Boom.
And everything changed. And everything in the game changed.
Everybody's a producer now.
Oh.
Yeah. Yo, B, what you got? Oh no, B, you just went. F, what you got up next, man?
Running out of shit. Cause I keep time I put one down, there's another Dilla. I don't want to be just throwing a bunch of Dillas out there, but this is actually one. It is my shit, but this is one I'm not even sure if it's a sample. But I think it is so nasty. Maybe y'all can tell me, because the song actually, as far as I know, never officially came out. The Dr. Dre, the Pyrex shit, the one they did the commercial for.
You talking about the one with Kendrick?
Yeah. That I don't know if it's a sample or it's just it was just instrumentation that was taken into into a machine and flipped some kind of way. But I don't even know what that sound is. Funny enough, because it's some type of filter on top of it. But it's the Pyrex. If you haven't heard it, man, it's the Pyrex joint. It's the one they had the commercial for. The pill commercial for they had for a second.
Yeah, I know what you talking about. I mean, knowing Dre nowadays,
Check that one out.
Sample. I doubt it's a sample.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it was a sample or not. I kind of doubt it, but it's just the way that he flipped whatever he sampled. He sampled something and then flipped it, and then put the effects and what's going on in the background. Yo, it's a nasty beat.
Okay.
Yeah, what you got up next, JP?
I'm gonna go with straight loop, but I feel like this loop, it's right at the beginning of the record, and it's all you have to do is put some drums to it, but the sample itself has so much energy. I know because every time the song come on, my wife loves it. My stepdaughter, she loves the joint, and that's Lucchini by Camp Low, man. That sample.
Oh.
The Dynasty
joint,
yeah, man, because.
That's a classic song right there, dog.
Leon Silvers was a beast producer, son. Leon Silvers was crazy, but that was it. But yeah, that Camp Low, that's right at the beginning when you drop that needle on, bam! I was like, when I first heard the original, I was like, damn, everything is in here. Like everything is in here. It was like, he just put some drums on it, whatever. But that's it, man. That sample has so much energy.
And you're right about Leon Silver. He does not get the credit he deserves.
Oh my goodness, man. Whew. So many hits for that guy, man. So many hits.
Yeah. The Lucci.
They say Big Griffey was the one that made Solar Records. You got to put Leon Silvers in there also, man. Cause without him, the Whispers wouldn't have had that run. Shalimar, absolutely. As you mentioned, they had a really good run in the '80s, but us beat snobs, sometimes we act like, nah, man, the 80s wasn't the best for sample. We always want to go back to the 70s and stuff. It's like, no, when you really think about somebody's work and the time that they put in, and you listen to their bulk of music, Leon Silver was a beast, He was a beast. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember first hearing the joint, they sent that to EAA, and like you said, Jay, whether it's this original or the joint that Ski did, it's just sickening. You know what I mean? And it's one of them joints like, yo, if you don't like Lucchini, B, you don't like life, man.
Word up. I'm happy listening to the decision, dog.
I mean, honestly, it ain't even about like, oh, you don't like hip hop or not, nigga.
You don't like rap. You don't like food.
You don't like living, man. Just die.
You don't like sex. You don't like. Just a miserable old crusty motherfucker. You don't like that shit. Like the original or the Camp Low shit.
Yeah, man. That joint was perfect, man. I'm gonna go with for my next joint. I'm gonna go with this is one of my favorite Gangstar joints. In fact, I think it is my favorite Gangstar joint. I used to date this shorty out in North Philly, and I used to have to catch a bus. You know what I'm talking about, B. I'm down in Wyoming, man. I'm down past Logan. catch a bus and 2 trains and another bus through North Philly. You know what I mean? Through Winghahawken, man. Them Rockefeller niggas tell you about Winghahawken. But this joint played in my head, Gangstar's just to get a rep, because it's about getting robbed and going through your neighborhood every weekend. It was trying not to get robbed, so this played in my head, and this joint, the John Perry joint, the Eva joint.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, like, it's almost like JP was just saying about the other joint. It's like everything is in there. You know, the water noise, the spookiness of it, just the whole, everything is in there. And it was just like, yo, that, to this day, I mean, and it's just a loop. And we're going to talk about that if we got some time later, because I always hear this debate among producers, oh, it's just a loop, it's just a loop. And I'm always challenging people, 90% of the hip-hop you love, if I ask the average dude 5 songs, your favorite hip-hop songs, they loops.
Yes, sir.
So I don't know where we got to this point of, like you said, Marsh, being bougie, but most of your favorite hip-hop songs are loops. You know what I mean? But
yep.
We'll chop it up about that later. Marsh, what's your last joint for the night, man?
All right. I was going to use something else. You can't have a discussion like this and not have at least one James Brown in there. So this ain't even James Brown. This is the JB, and rest in peace to my dad. The first time I heard this record, this is when I knew I fell in love with hip hop in my house. My younger brothers, my sisters, my mother was like, turn that shit off. It's horrible. What the hell are you listening to? And the 2 things that I heard off this record was, 1, my dad used to rock this joint all the time out of his collection, and 2, how the hell can you not hear what they're saying? And it's the Rebel Without a Pause sample. You know what I'm saying? It's the grunt. It's the grunt.
Yeah.
You put this on, it ain't nothing but pure energy on this record. So, I mean, through the whole song, the song is 2 minutes and 45 seconds of just sheer, man, what can I say, man? I'm gonna end it out with that, man. And thank you, Dad, for turning me on to that bad boy, because when it got sampled, I felt like I was a kid, like I was the only one in the neighborhood that knew that that this record, that song came from somewhere else. And it's just a straight with just that, and you know what it is, but it's just incredible, man. So I'm gonna end it on that.
That's what it is. Yo, Bink, what you got next, man? What's your last joint?
Give Up the Goods, my beat.
Ooh. Oh.
That's the Phillips.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing I loved about that sample, I loved when L used it for the remix for Pink Cookies with Plastic Bag.
Okay. All right.
Wasn't that QD3 that did that remix?
What happened?
Was it QD3 that did the remix?
I think Mo B did that remix.
Word?
Don't get me wrong. I could be wrong. Nah,
I think it was QD3 that did that joint.
All right. Yeah.
I'm almost certain it was. But
Yeah.
that was like one of the first when I first, he was really like starting to come up a little bit. Like, okay, that shit was hard, yo.
And the thing I loved about that is, even though L used it, Primo used it for J. Rue, and Mobb Deep used it, I love all 3 songs. Like, I never felt like when I heard Tips, when I heard Mobb Deep, I was like, oh, that's the same joint, L used. And that happens a lot when you hear something somebody already used. And then even when J. Rue used it, I wasn't like, that's the Mobb Deep. It was like each dude kind of at what you was talking about earlier about how you could take a sample and flip it and make it different. That it was definitely different. Yo, B, what you got up last?
I was kind of stuck between I guess I had to go with an Alchemist joint, man. The Hold You Down shit with Prodigy, yo. That shit.
Ooh.
When I got my hands on the original record, because that's that joint that Jay used it also. I forget the song Jay used it for. I think it's off that Rock Familiar album too, as a matter of fact. But the way that nigga chopped that and flipped it, that was dope, yo. That Alchemist killed that shit. And if you ever see online, I think it's Alchemist or Prodigy or whatever on YouTube, he posted a video of him in the crib, the 2 of them working on that shit, where Prodigy, I guess, first was hearing how he was flipping it, and P's like, wait, go back to that part, go back to that, and he started writing this shit, and you hear the nigga Alchemist in the back chopping it, flipping it, putting it together and shit, it was even doper seeing how they put it together. But then when I heard the original sample and shit, 'cause that's that I think it's Al Cooper, the theme from Landlord, I believe it is.
It's off the Landlord sound.
Yeah, thank you, Kill. I thought it's Al Cooper, but I didn't know which one. Yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing was Just used that joint for something on Jay off that
Yeah,
dot.
I forget what song it was, but Love something or some shit like that. I forget which one it was. It wasn't one of my favorite Jay joints off that album though, but yeah, but the way Alchemist chopped it and flipped it was dope.
Yeah, it was crazy. Ev, what you got up next, man?
Man, I won. All right, let's pick one. I'm gonna go with Baby Huey. Hard Times.
Classic.
That's Ghostface. Somebody else used it. A couple of cats didn't use that joint, but that Baby Huey joint is hot. Can I get my honorable mention?
Yeah, hell yeah.
My honorable mention would be the Bee Gees joint, Love You Inside Out. Is joint from Snoop Dogg, Ups and Downs.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite Snoop tracks,
Yes,
though.
Woo.
Yeah, that shit is stupid.
That's one of them joints you put the original on at a barbecue or something.
Yes, sir. Everybody getting up. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't care if it's a work-related barbecue with your white co-workers or some family. Everybody's getting up.
All right, JP, what you got up last?
I'm trying to decide between these two Primo joints. I'm gonna go with Superstar, man. Group home. The cameo joint, son.
The drums or the beginning of Superstar with the You can listen to that all day long and just meditate. Just sit back in a dark room and just think.
The everyday part is the Isaac Hayes joint.
Isaac Hayes, yes, sir.
The rest of it is the cameo joint.
Yeah. My favorite cameo song, that Hanging Downtown joint. Yes, sir.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. And for my last joint, this is one of the first joints that I heard, like, hearing the original sample. Like, cats know my mom was a jazz musician, so jazz is what I heard growing up with her. My pop, he was more of an 80s R&B dude, so I was hearing the Luther and the Freddie and the Anita. He wasn't, like, really playing the old record, so I don't have that story of, like, I knew that record because my moms or my pops was playing it or whatever. This is one of the first times that I heard an original sample, and it blew my mind because I love the track. And it's the Billy Joel joint that Marley used for Road to the Riches. I mean, just remembering hearing that piano, to this day, this is one of my favorite piano samples ever, is that Road to the Riches. And it was so hard. And the funny thing is, my mom loves Billy Joel, and I couldn't put the two together. Like we were talking about earlier, wrapping my mind around how do you get Road to the Riches with Cool G Rap from this dude. You know what I mean? Like yo, this white dude is chilling on the cover with a trumpet, looking like he's homeless, but this is Road to the Riches. So that's my joint right there. But yo, while we got Bink on here, and Ev made a good point of like how things come together and how you flip samples. We did it with the 1-900 Hustler. I already chopped it up with Bink. He said he was good with it. Just going into some of his points and how they came up with it. I think my personal favorite joint is Kanye joint. The Devil in the New Dress. Ben, can you talk about how?
I mean, I bought the record from my man, and once I seen produced by Willie Hutch, I mean, it was like, what else you need to read? You know what I'm saying? Smokey Robinson and Willie Hutch together? What? So just listening to that whole thing was just like it was a treat. But when I heard it, I was putting it together because I took like 4 pieces, I think 4 or 5 pieces from different parts of the record and made it a loop. So when you listen to it, when you listen to the original and then listen to the song, that's not how it goes on the record. So it's just not. It's not like a 4-bar loop or some shit. Like you're not gonna find that section and be like, oh, there you go. You're gonna find that piece and be like, oh, that's one of the pieces. You know what I'm saying? Oh, there they got another piece. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that. So that's what I was saying. That's another Gordon Gartrell right there.
That's dope. That's dope. That's dope. Tell me this. You told me a story once about Jay, the Blueprint. Can you tell me that? You tell us the behind that song.
We talking about all I need. I mean, not all I need, but a Rule Is Back record.
Was that the joint where you said real quick?
Absolutely. You know, it was that nightmare you get. I loaded up the disc and it said data corrupted. the mix session.
In a session?
No, at the mix session. So I was there just to mix the record. We supposed to be finishing the record today. So I go to load up the music and the data was corrupted. Like it wasn't loading up. Like you can see it, the name, the banks, and all that. Like no sir. So I had done the beat at Daddy's house at Puff Spot, and the records. It was some records over there. So I had to go back over to Daddy's house and dig through all those records that Puff got to find that Margie Joseph record, that If record. So me, just so happened my father was in town and he went over there with me. I was like in a sea of records, like you just see me hold it up in the air like this. I found that mother. I got it. I had to go back to the studio, sample it, re-chop it, reprogram it, add everything, redo the whole shit, put it to the vocals, mix it. That day.
Now tell me this because when I'm making a beat already finished, make it the same.
I mean, sometimes that does happen. You know, sometimes you can't get it to swing like it did last time. But no, I think I did this one better because it was only like one sequence initially.
Okay.
So by the time I finished programming the record, it was probably about 5 to 7 different sequences that I put in song mode and just arranged it, in order. Just so you hear things coming in and out, you know what I'm saying?
All right. Now another joint that's Beanie Siegel one shot.
We couldn't get that sample clear, so we had to get it replayed. So that's actual real horns you're hearing on that record.
Okay.
There's no sample on that record no more. So we had to recreate it. But I actually that's when Beans was on house arrest, and I put like a little rack together with my little 5080 and everything in it, TR rack and all that. I drove down to Philly and stayed with him at his crib, and we recorded in the basement. We did one shot deal at his house.
That's dope. All right. What do you think? Come on, what's your favorite?
What's my favorite beat
that you've done?
You know what? I just wish they would allow me to finish when they remember. You know what I'm saying? Because I had the horns replayed and everything live. I just actually I'm about to leak out the instrumental to it because I got it. I remixed it and added the horns to it, so it sounds a little different now. You know what I'm saying? It's way more full because you hear it's like a live horn. I got flutes and this shit. So the shit sound kind of crazy, but when they remember was like one of my favorite joints.
All right, yo. Well, yo, Bink, as always, good looking man with sitting there with us today. What you got cooking up? Let kids know what's on the horizon for you.
Well, I'm actually overseeing Nipsey Hussle's project right now, so we're in the process of getting ready to start mixing that. And I just sent you something, Kill.
All right.
That I need you to share with everybody else, because I don't have everybody else's email, but it's the remix of not the remix, but the revised version of the When They Remember with the live horns.
Yeah.
So
I definitely see that. And also, salute on that.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. It was a good little turn on that.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Real quick, let them know about.
All right, brother. I'm still gonna go here. Hopefully, y'all hear me. Once again, Memory Lane on Walters Lane, 2809 Walters Lane, District Heights, Maryland. We're right outside of Washington D.C. Telephone number 301-568-5032 or 301-568-5044. We're all over social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. It's MLWL2809. Facebook, it's Memory Lane on Walters Lane. We're on Tumblr, MLWL2809.tumblr.com. Also, if I could just get in real quick, just real quick, an actual honorable mention. I got to give it up. Now I can't find the record. I'm killing time here. Damn it. My man Bohannon and
Hamilton Bohannon, yeah.
Hamilton Bohannon that singing a song for my mother. If you don't know it, of course, everybody on the panel knows it. Y'all know it. That's the I Got to Have It joint, and to this day, here we go. To this day, that's one of my favorites. So I had to throw that in just as an honorable mention. But we're open every day. Please, anybody that's watching this, everybody on the panel, just come through, say what's up to you. Coach Jack here, and thanks again, Kills, for having me in here. Big pleasure to meet you, brother. To the fellas, my man, excuse me, Ev, Big, good to see y'all again. Come on through, my man, JP, pleasure to meet you, brother.
All right.
And Kills, come in as soon as possible, man. Thank you for having me on the panel.
No doubt. As always, y'all know youtube.com/live from the bench. Leave comments, all that good stuff. Another dope show, yo. Bink, good looking for sitting in. Bezo, Ev, Marsh. Check y'all next week.
All right.
Go.